Thank you very much, Comrade Phoebe. I would like to clarify a few things in relation to the questions that have been asked. One, in relation to the SAPC win-win situation. There's no win-win situation. We put the Bella Act for 3 months for engagement. That's what we did. The Act has come to full cycle in terms of the law. We did that in the spirit of the GNU to engage with partners, and we're part and parcel of that. And henceforth, we want to thank everybody who took part in that particular process. It is not a compromise to say the minister must determine the norms and standards for language policy. South Africa's Schools Act of 1996 provides for this. It is a standard practice. So it's not something that cannot be done. So if the minister does not implement the decisions of government, in government, which have come full cycle in terms of the law, there will be consequences for that. And we don't think that we will get to that stage. At this present moment, all political parties in the clearinghouse have engaged and found each other, and the president have actually announced in this regard. So I think we need to make that particular point very clear. The people who have understood the terrain of the government of national unity as something else, we have always understood it in the ANC as a tactical intervention and not as a melting pot. We have understood that we are engaged in a process as a country with arch rivals, and so to say, with people that we don't agree with politically and ideologically. And it's not only the Bella Act, there will be other issues that we don't agree to. And we have actually said that those who occupy positions in the GNU will want to occupy those positions to demonstrate that they can do better. The ANC, with the largest party in the GNU, has got the responsibility to demonstrate to South Africans that we can do things and work for communities and deliver for communities. And that is what is really important for us. So the Bella Act, there's been no doubt that our president is directed, and at the same time is a person with a vision of understanding what it means to work for unity in our country. So anyone who wishes to claim easy victories outside the proper understanding of where the ANC is going, it's just populism. Simple. There's not been any doubt about the terrain in our movement and the organization. So there are people who want to become superheroes and who become super revolutionaries. We allow them the space because the ANC is ukalele pain. But we have never been in doubt about this leadership and where it is taking us to, because it draws direction from the collective wisdom of our movement. The DA is doing what it's supposed to do as an opposition party. We can't, every time Helen Zille opens a mouth and speak, we run after her. She's doing what she's mandated to do from the point of view of their constituency. They organized a march there at Voortrekker Hoogte, a big march there, mobilizing their communities and all of that. It is them. It reflects on them, AfriForum and all of that. we stand for what we want to stand for: non-racialism and unity of the South African people. And that's what we stand for. We are for transformation, not for superior exclusion of one group at the expense of the other. Nelson Mandela said it from the dock: I fought white domination, and therefore I stand against black domination. We stand for non-racialism. That's what we stand for as the African National Congress. What other political parties do around us is what they do. It reflects on them. We will fight for what is right: transformation in this country, equality for all in our nation. And that is what we stand for as the African National Congress. So there's no confusion on our part. Political parties will speak for themselves and what they stand for and what they stand to gain from their own perspectives. But we stand for the people of this country, and the perspectives that we stand for are the perspectives that you don't change when the weather has changed and tomorrow you speak a different language. You stand for what you believe in, and our strategy and tactics is our guide in relation to what we are pursuing. That is why we have never been confused. That GNU can never be a strategic goal, it's a tactical maneuver. And if you say to us the DA have accepted to participate is a sellout position, then you are getting it wrong, comrades. That's what we have been saying. You are getting it wrong. From a point of view of just pure strategy and tactics, you are getting it wrong. Because it's a tactical maneuver. We didn't want to go for any of the options of coalitions. Coalition of grand coalition of minority governance and all of that. We went for a broader approach. And others decided not to participate in it. We've got 10 political parties that are part of this GNU. And others, for political expedience and trying to attack the ANC ideologically, have said that no, this is a coalition between the DA and the ANC. We have not been bothered about that because we believe in the principle. And at the end of the day, what is that principle? Is a guide of the strategy and tactics. We are actually addressed by people who don't know what they stand for as political parties. People who just follow an individual, who follow a person and believed in a person. We follow time-tested strategy and tactics approach of the African National Congress. And that is what we believe in. It will live beyond Ramaphosa as our president to the next generation. It is refined from time to time, from conference to conference, in relation to how we adapt as a party, in relation to the conditions that we face. We do not believe to be in the position that we are in forever. We want to come back. We will rebuild the ANC to be a stronger party, and that is what we are embarking upon as an organization and what we are doing today. Gender-based violence, it's a community program. It starts with me and you. Somebody can be talking as a politician, as a businessman, but abusing a woman. The acts of violence and the killing we have seen are a shock to our nation. You sit with somebody here, tomorrow they wake up, he have killed his girlfriend or his woman, in terms of his wife and so on. So it's a societal issue that we need to attend to as families. We need to champion the cause. And as men, we must act as an example. We must also work on the upbringing of young men. There is a problem in terms of the upbringing of young men who believe that women are a possession, are an object, that you own a woman. It's a psychological problem. You don't own a woman. It's a problem of our society in terms of patriarchy. The dominance of men over women and that the emancipation of women means freedom for women. It doesn't mean that a woman is a possession. When you buy a woman, your girlfriend and everything, a car and all of that, when the relationship comes to an end, you think that you own that particular person. It's not. Women are not a commodity. They are human beings. They give birth to us. We need to work on the psychology of men. When you give something to your girlfriend, you think that you hold it against her. Even if you come to disintegration, it's done. Gender-based violence is happening right among us, and is pursued by men. Still, namadoda. See it as a gender-based violence. We believe that we own women. Women are a possession to us. It's a struggle that we must lead as the ANC, as a society as a whole. That's where we must come together, irrespective of political party affiliation. We must lead a struggle to conscientize young men. I've got a young man in my household. How that young man is going to grow up and become a man in society is important. It's important because he can grow up and become an animal when I'm no longer there, and become something else that does not respect a woman and all of that, and think that a woman is a possession, is a commodity, is an object. I can do as I wish. When now you've got the right to do all the wrong things in life, a woman does not have a right to express her full potential in life. It's something he plompot or apparently. So we need to conscientize society. It starts with me and you. And the battle must be fought among our young men. That's where the challenge is. They kill women willy-nilly at the go. And that's what actually happens. So this struggle, those perpetrators must be brought to book, but over and above that, we must lead this struggle. As political parties, as human beings, as leaders, we must lead this particular struggle against gender-based violence. Mthunzi, the SACP and us is an ongoing engagement. We will engage on the issue of the SACP resolution. As the ANC, we have not taken any decision or reflected on this. We are going to do that. We are going to Cape Town, January 8. We believe in the alliance. The alliance was not brought together by personalities. It was brought together by a common program called the National Democratic Revolution. And if today there is a decision like that, it's going to have an impact on the NDR. It's going to have an impact on alliance relations. Our political education department, David Makura, I assigned him a task, and the department, that by next year when we meet, I need a paper to be presented to the officials and to the NEC on the implications of this decision. We've got an appointment with the SACP in a bilateral. How is this going to happen? These are some of the questions we must answer. We don't believe in this thing of the party contesting ourselves. We don't agree with that. And when we met with them, we cautioned them against that. So we're going to engage on that with the SACP. ENCA, DA minister, yes, it's a DA minister leading, but in a government of national unity. So ministers do as government prescribe. If you don't implement an act, you will be dismissed by the president. And it doesn't, ministers behave the same. So you are not, when you are in cabinet, you are serving at the behest of the president. So I don't think we'll get to that particular situation. I think we'll move ahead and this will be done. Of course, there's been distortions in the media about the fact that this bill will not be implemented in its entirety. No, there's no such. There's no such. Fake news is trafficking. It's been trafficked all over social media platforms, WhatsApp groups, the most bored people, WhatsApp groups. They lie to each other with impunity. You know, they just lie. I saw something circulating about Comrade Mavuso. I mean, I said Matlengi and Comrade Mavuso must issue a statement on that. Just fabricating that Comrade Mavuso attacked the SG and the president. It doesn't work like that. That's the stalwart veteran of our movement. So I spoke to him this morning and he was outraged. So they manufacture fake news on a daily basis. You know, they can just change your surname Mtunzi now and call you something. And then and it moves fast because it's holidays now. They drink on those WhatsApp groups. They get intoxicated and believe their own propaganda. So that's why I'm not a member of a WhatsApp group. So people send me these things and so on. So that's what happens. So Khayelitsha has been our first choice. We are going to Khayelitsha. We are not going to DHL. We are not going to Athlone Stadium. We are going to the township. That's where we are going. We are going to our people. We are going to our people to connect with our people because we have realized in the last election that there will be no stronger ANC if it does not connect with its base. We are who we are because of the working class as the motive force, primary motive force of the national democracy. We are where we are because of our people. Our people do not abandon the ANC, they just don't go and vote. And they don't vote for other political parties. So we are going to celebrate January 8th, 113 with the people. We'll move from Khayelitsha Stadium to Rents. You know Rents in Cape Town? It's going to be happening. You are all invited. It's going to be a humdinger like never been seen before. It's going to be a razzmatazz in Khayelitsha. It's happening. So all of us will be there in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, we'll be in Khayelitsha. So Khayelitsha has been the first choice. So I'm not going to stand here and tell you that we wanted Cape Town Stadium and George Hill refused. No, we never asked. Athlone Stadium, George Hill refused. No, we went to Khayelitsha from the onset. From the onset. So it's a decision, conscious, we have taken. We are going to Cape Town, and in Cape Town we are going to Khayelitsha. That's where we are going to celebrate 113 years of the African National Congress. And President Ramaphosa will deliver the statement of the ANC from Khayelitsha Stadium on the 11th of January. That's where we will be. So thank you very much, and we wish everybody a prosperous New Year. Last question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. When you started with your response, you said this is not a win-win. And maybe expand there because the DA says it's a win-win, you say it's not. But secondly, it's been 30 years and you were emphasizing now that you are for transformation and racialism and all that. The fact that those parties that agreed in the clearing house mechanism agreed that the act be implemented in its totality doesn't mean the constituencies, their constituencies in particular, those people who are marching it, doesn't mean they are happy. 30 years into democracy and we still have within society people who would not be happy with this transformation. Where did we lose the plot? And I'm asking this because you always, as the ANC, pride yourself as leader of society. Could it be that at some point you missed the ball and as a result you are now ramping up this legislation to say you will force it on people's throats?
No. This legislation was devised, agreed, adopted by government and then by parliament. All right? in the 6th administration. The ANC today, tomorrow, and next week will continue with the transformative agenda. And we can point at many legislations we have passed in the 30 years which favor the disadvantaged and accelerating the transformation process. And there will be others that will come that will probably now not succeed because we don't have a majority. Okay? So the ANC has always been at the helm of this transformation agenda, and that is why we said that transformation agenda have suffered a setback with the 40% rule now, because we have been weakened. It means we've got to work with others to get the transformation agenda going, and that is what that is where we are. And it can be blocked, and it can be blocked by others in the legislature, and we are confident of a victory at all times with the numbers that we have actually garnered as the ANC. It is the DA that says win-win. It is their characterization. There's no win-win there, because the DA didn't want clause 4 and 5 and all of that in terms of the act. So that did not actually happen. Now we're moving ahead with the implementation, and that's what is important. So I'm saying it's not a win-win. I've clarified the issue of the norms and standards, that since 1996, it is normal that a minister will actually implement the norms and standards. And it is not new with Gwarube. It's something that is there in the Act since 1996 that the ANC have ensured that this actually happens, ANC government, and so on. Your second question was about?
No, it was more to say, if we fail to persuade people to just force this legislation.
No, we didn't force. We are a democratic. We understand we operate in a terrain in which we don't have a majority. We wouldn't have subjected this bill to this process if we were arrogant and we did not want to engage with others. We did, because there was a need to engage and come close to others, because there is no threat in this bill. It can only be a threat to racists. That's it. But from a point of view of non-racialism in this country, this bill is not, this act, not a bill, this act is not a threat to non-racialism, to a better South Africa, to a united nation. It's not a threat. It's not a threat. It just opened the doors of learning and culture to all. So those who want to preserve this system for a particular group or class only, they will oppose this bill. But this bill is victory to democracy, is victory to non-racialism, is victory to a united nation, and is victory to the GNU. So it's not a win-win situation as it's defined, and I don't want even to get there, because they can explain that win-win for themselves and their constituency. I'm not in the business of speaking for the DA, and we are not DA, we are the African National Congress. But it is a disappointment, this advance by the President and his cabinet, to those who said that we're going around preaching as though things won't happen. Preaching as though things won't happen. Even within our ranks, there are people who are just on top of their voices. Bella Act must be implemented. There is leadership here in this country, led by Ramaphosa of the ANC. Why will others speak on the sideways as though there is doubt about leadership, that it won't be provided? It is wrong. It is populist. It is populist. And we will act against populism in the ranks of the ANC. We will. We are observing it. It is not plurality of ideas, intellectualism, dissent, genuine. It is populism. Why will any leader of the ANC not have confidence that matters of this nature are being handled and driven at the political level by the leadership of the ANC. When the president decided on this matter, leadership was provided, structures were briefed. Why now do we have to go on the sidelines that this must, as though there is doubt that the leadership will renege on the program of the National Democratic Revolution? Our mandate is very clear in this government, is to advance the NDR. Other forces and political parties, strategic opponents like the DA and other parties, the new arrivalists and all of that, will be opposed to the ANC. And we've got to navigate in that space from time to time. It's a difficult period for the movement. It's a difficult period for the ANC. It is a difficult period for the NDR, but we don't give up. We will use our 40% to advance the National Democratic Revolution, because 6 million people in this country said, we believe in the ANC that it can continue to govern, and it must govern and govern well. That's why we cannot afford mismanagement and all of those things that are happening in some of the municipalities and all of that. We must advance. The program of renewal is going to be heightened in the new year going forward. And that is how we are going to win the trust of the people going forward. So we are not in an arrangement or a marriage where we are bound to agree. No, we are not. We are not in a marriage. We are in a coalition called Government of National Unity. And Government of National Unity are not constituted by like-minded people world over. They are constituted by people who don't agree. And every time the DA says this and that, it doesn't shock us one way or the other. Thank you very much. And a happy new year and prosperous